What if the shaking, hesitation, and loss of power your car has been showing wasn't actually a major engine problem, but something much simpler and cheaper to fix? Most people assume that when their engine starts misfiring or running rough, it must be something serious. But very often, it's just a matter of figuring out whether the spark plugs are worn out or the ignition coils are failing. The tricky part is that both can cause almost identical symptoms, which is why so many drivers end up replacing the wrong part and still have the same issue. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to tell the difference between a bad spark plug and a bad ignition coil, how to diagnose the real cause quickly and accurately, and how to replace whichever one is faulty yourself safely and correctly. By the end, you'll be able to save yourself hundreds of dollars and a lot of frustration the next time your engine starts acting up. Let's start with the fundamentals so everything else makes sense. Every modern gasoline engine needs two key things working perfectly together for proper combustion: extremely high voltage and a strong, consistent spark. The ignition coil takes the low 12-volt power from your battery and transforms it into 20,000 to 40,000 volts or even higher. That high voltage then travels to the spark plug, which uses it to create the actual electrical spark that ignites the compressed air-fuel mixture inside the cylinder. Think of the ignition coil as the power station generating the electricity and the spark plug as the device that delivers the spark itself. When either one starts to fail, combustion becomes inefficient, incomplete, or missing entirely in one or more cylinders. That's when you start feeling misfires, rough idle, hesitation, loss of power, poor fuel economy, or that annoying shaking at stoplights. The most important thing to understand is that these two components fail in very different ways and at different rates. Spark plugs wear out gradually over time as the electrodes erode, carbon and deposits build up, and the gap widens. Ignition coils, on the other hand, tend to fail more suddenly and dramatically. This difference in failure pattern is the real key to accurate diagnosis. When spark plugs are going bad, the symptoms almost always develop slowly and progressively. You might notice your acceleration feels a little weaker than it used to be a few weeks or months ago. The car doesn't pull as strongly on hills or when overtaking as it once did. Fuel economy starts dropping gradually without any obvious reason. At idle, the engine might feel slightly rough or uneven, but it often smooths out once the engine is warm and under load. Cold starts may take a bit more cranking than usual, especially in the morning. These are classic signs of worn spark plugs because the degradation happens little by little, cylinder by cylinder. Ignition coils behave very differently. When a coil starts failing, the change is often sudden and dramatic. One day the car runs fine, the next it's shaking violently at idle, the steering will vibrate strongly, and you might even get a flashing check engine light. You'll feel sudden and severe loss of power, especially under acceleration, and there's often a strong raw gasoline smell from the tailpipe because unburned fuel is passing straight through the engine into the exhaust. These symptoms usually happen consistently, at idle, during acceleration, and while cruising. If your car suddenly started running like a lawnmower at a traffic light or feels like it's running on fewer cylinders, there's a very high chance an ignition coil is the culprit. Here's a practical way to tell them apart in real life. If the problem developed slowly over weeks or months and is more noticeable during acceleration or under load, it's usually the spark plugs wearing out. If the misfire appeared suddenly, is violent at idle, and happens all the time regardless of engine load, it's most likely the ignition coils. A flashing check engine light almost always points strongly to a coil problem because it means the misfire is severe enough to risk damaging the catalytic converter. If you have a basic OBD2 scanner, you can confirm this further. Misfire codes like P0301 through P0306 tell you which specific cylinder is misfiring, but they don't tell you why. However, codes in the P035X range, such as P0352 or P0354, specifically point to an ignition coil circuit problem on that cylinder. Random misfire codes, P0300, are more commonly caused by worn spark plugs or multiple cylinders struggling at the same time. Once you've identified which component is failing, the next step is replacing it. Both jobs are straightforward, can be done at home with basic tools, and will save you a significant amount of money compared to dealer prices. Let's talk about spark plugs first. Replacing spark plugs is very beginner-friendly. You'll need a ratchet, a spark plug socket that fits your plugs, an extension bar, and ideally a torque wrench. The most important rule is to always work on a completely cold engine. Removing spark plugs from a hot aluminum cylinder head can easily strip the threads, which becomes a very expensive repair. Start by removing the ignition coil or coil pack sitting on top of the spark plug. Unplug the electrical connector and remove the mounting bolt, then pull the coil straight up. Set it aside carefully. Now use your spark plug socket and extension to loosen and remove the old plug. Take a good look at it. Black soot usually means a rich mixture, white or blistered electrodes indicate overheating, and oil on the plug points to a valve cover gasket leak that needs fixing immediately. When installing the new plugs, always thread them in by hand first to make sure they're not cross-threaded. Once they're seated, torque them to the manufacturer's specification. Over-tightening can crack the head, while under-tightening causes poor sealing and misfires. After the new plugs are in, reinstall the ignition coils securely. Spark plugs should always be replaced as a complete set. Never install just one new plug while leaving the others old. It creates uneven combustion and poor performance. Replacing ignition coils is even simpler. Each coil is held by one electrical connector and usually one bolt. Disconnect the connector, remove the bolt, and pull the coil straight up. Some may feel stuck due to heat, so a gentle twist helps. Insert the new coil firmly until it seats completely on the spark plug, reinstall the bolt and connector, and you're done. If your car has high mileage and one coil has failed, I usually recommend replacing all of them at the same time. Coils often fail around similar mileage, and doing them all together prevents you from having to repeat the job in a few months. There are a few common mistakes I see people make that I want to help you avoid. The biggest one is replacing spark plugs when the real problem is the coil, or vice versa. Another frequent error is not checking the spark plug gap on new plugs. Many come pre-gapped, but not always to your specific engine's requirement. Taking 10 seconds to check and adjust the gap can prevent misfires. Never mix old and new spark plugs, and if you ever see oil inside the spark plug wells, replace the valve cover gasket right away because oil will destroy coils very quickly. Both of these jobs are well within the reach of most car owners and can save you several $100s compared to dealer labor rates. Once you've done them a couple of times, they become quick and routine maintenance. Now you know exactly how to tell the difference between failing spark plugs and failing ignition coils, and exactly how to fix whichever one is causing your problem. This knowledge will save you time, money, and a lot of frustration the next time your engine starts acting up. If this video helped you diagnose or understand your misfire issue better, please hit the like button right now. Share it with anyone who owns a gasoline car. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications for more practical, money-saving car repair and maintenance guides every week. Drop a comment below. What symptoms is your car showing? Do you think it's the spark plugs or ignition coils? What make, model, and year is your vehicle? I read every comment and I'm happy to give more specific advice for your situation. Thanks for watching. Keep your engine running strong and smooth. I'll see you in the next video. Drive safe.